Hi, friends. How's everyone doing today? So, today, like I talked about yesterday on yesterday's video, I want to talk about the pain. And this is going to be more specific for those of us who are very familiar with pain. And for those of us who it felt like forever at some point in our lives that everything we went through and everything we were going through always ended up with some sort of painful outcome or painful scenario. So here's the thing, okay? One of the biggest problems that we all have throughout our lives is that because of the things that happen in our childhood that we don't fully understand, we couldn't fully understand when we were small, so we couldn't process these things. It created all these things within us, insecurities, uh, feeling this lack of love, being seen, and the list can go on forever. It could be so many different things, right? Because everyone is going to have a different experience in this life here. But what happens is the reason why for some of us these things happen, um, and then they keep repeating themselves, is, and this is going to be a really good analogy for people to understand why these things happen and then they keep going up until you figure out how to make it stop, obviously. But here's why. You know how in today's medicine there are so many cures for so many things, even if it's not widely known and divulged throughout the world. But let me just put it to you this way. There are cures for just about everything that exists out there. Whatever type of ailment, illness that exists, there's a cure for it. But because the pharmaceutical industry does not have any, how do we say, they're not here to cure things. They're here to profit off of it. So what does it happen? What do doctors do? Most of the time is they treat the symptoms. They look at the symptoms and then there's like some sort of medication for the symptoms. But they're not going to the root cause of the problem to look at it deeply and to see, where the issue is so you can get cured from whatever it is that you have. Psychologically speaking, it works the same way. So when we go through these painful experiences in life, we look at the symptoms of the pain, but we always forget to look at where is it really coming from and why does it always keep coming back from different experiences, different environments, different relationships, you name it. It's because, like I said on my previous video, some of these things are so subtly and deeply ingrained in our subconscious, almost under lock and key, protected. because it's a defense mechanism that we have built within our own psyche. We build these walls and all these things, and then we never look at where is it really coming from? Where is the origin point? What is the root cause of the problem? And until you can actually go back in time and look at these things to really find out where it came from. And I know in some instances it's not going to be that easy, because not everyone is going to be gifted with this elephant memory of being able to remember things when they were like 2 or 3 years old. But there's all kinds of things that can be done. You can meditate, you could seek a professional help if necessary, do what do you call it, psychotherapy. I think it's called psychotherapy, regression, where they hypnotize you and you can actually relive moments and things like that, so you can find out where that stuff came from, and then finally address the issue. I didn't have to do that myself, because I was fortunate enough in this lifetime to be able to remember all kinds of stuff when I was really, really young. So I remember the stuff, I know where it came from, and then I dealt with it. And until we deal with things like this and we go to the root cause of the problem and eliminate it, it's never gonna go away, and it's gonna continue to resurface under different circumstances throughout our life. So if you're tired, if you're sick of pain and living painful experiences, having always, and there's the other thing though, that pain is there for a reason. It's not just because of the trauma and the things that happened to you when you were small, but it's also, this pain has a purpose, and its purpose is to stir these things inside of you, to fully awaken certain aspects of you that you've forgotten about yourself, that are part of your soul, part of source, part of this consciousness that we are all part of. Because I am you and you are me. Never forget that. We are all one thing. Everything. We are experiencing everything inside and outside of us all at the same time. So remember that. Now bear with me, I'm gonna read some things that I wrote here that is very much relatable to this. And sometimes I like to write stuff down, because I noticed that a lot of my videos that have gotten a lot of views were videos where I did things like this. That doesn't mean that that's how I'm gonna do every video that I do from now on, but if this format proves to be good, I might be doing this more often now, okay? So my eyes are not going to be looking at the camera now because I gotta read. So, you are the light that refused to surrender. You are not the darkness. You have survived, okay? So you are the light that refused to surrender. You are not the darkness, you have survived. Repeat this if you have to understand what it means, okay? We can only see, this is another thing, right? Isn't it funny? Isn't it ironic that we can only see our outside, but nearly everything happens on the inside? That is so true. And this is what the problem is with most people, right? There's people out there that will see someone, and let's say it's a beautiful person on the outside, right? Stunning, the most gorgeous person you've ever seen. Could be a girl, could be a guy, it doesn't matter. There's plenty of gorgeous people in the world, right? And our instant reaction when something like that happens is we paint this image of this person based upon their looks that it'll be completely misrepresented, misunderstood, misguided, because you don't know what that person is like on the inside. There could be plenty of beautiful people out there, gorgeous people, and that seems to be the case with a lot of people who are who were gifted with good looks from their DNA, right? From their heritage. There are so many good looking people out there that have issues because of what's on their inside. So let that sink in for a minute before you're the type of person that always goes for the looks. And look, I understand there has to be attraction when you're trying to have a relationship with someone. But you know that phrase, never judge a book by its cover? It is so profound and truthful. So that's another one. You know those nights when you felt alone and hopeless and you cried, not because you were weak, but because you have been strong for far too long. And I'm pretty sure this is something that we can all relate to. We've all had those moments in our lives. It doesn't matter. You can pretend to be the tough guy all you want. But, you know, when you're by yourself alone, dealing with your own problems, trying to figure out how to overcome certain things, whatever it is, and the other thing is sometimes we bottle these things up within ourselves for so long that at some point it just overflows. And you should never be carrying things within you until it reaches that point, because it's not very fun when you have to do things like that. And trust me, I know what I'm talking about. When you start going through this healing process, it's it's crazy how sometimes you think you're good for a while, and then you are, and then something happens. It doesn't matter what it was. It could be so many different things. Sometimes you read something, there's a scene or a specific phrase on a movie, something, anything, could be anything, and then it just cracks you right open, and you start crying out of nowhere. And you don't know why, but it's because something within you recognized something within those words that made you have to have this release happen. So yeah, those nights when you felt alone and hopeless, and you cried, and we've all been there at some point in our lives. Not because you're weak, but because you have been strong for far too long. And we talk about being alone and things like that, but here's the thing though, you have to understand that you're never alone. You've never been alone. Ever. From the moment you're born, there's always energies, beings, divine entities that are attached to you due to plenty of different reasons. Call them guardian angels, spirit guides, whatever you want to call them. These things are real, they exist, and they never leave your side. And it's on those during those dark moments of your life that you have these things happen to you when you're alone by yourself, and then you're crying because of whatever happened, whatever it was, right? And there is so much strength in those moments because you have to have a release mechanism. You can't hold onto these things inside of you forever. So it's okay to cry sometimes. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. It's being human. You gotta put the stuff out sometimes. Especially if you don't have a lot of friends, you don't feel comfortable about talking about certain things to people. Vulnerability is a thing that it's not easy for a lot of people to open up to others and be vulnerable, especially for women though. Um, but yeah, all right, let's see. There is someone out there in the world who loves you, who really likes you. You may not know this. You may not even know who that person is. But there is someone out there. Someone someone who you made a difference in their lives. Maybe more than one. You will never know. Un, 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 Unless they told you, right? So if you're the type of person who is like being too harsh on yourself and judging yourself, oh, I've never experienced love, I never felt loved by anyone or anything, you're wrong. There is someone out there that sees you as who you truly are. Trust me on that. Kindness is good, but never let others mistake it for weakness. That's the overgiver part. You know? Don't be an overgiver. Don't be a people pleaser. It's okay to be kind to others. It's a great thing if you can be kind to people. There's nothing wrong with that. It is a beautiful thing, actually. But mistake, do not allow others to mistake your kindness for weakness. Okay? And never let yourself be taken advantage because of your kindness. Okay? Never let yourself be taken advantage of because of your kindness. That's another thing. So, these are some of the things that I wrote down that I thought they were relatable to this specific topic of the pain and why we go through painful experiences in our lives, and what is it there for? To make you grow, to make you learn. This video is already getting longer than I expected, I guess. So I'm gonna stop it here. But that's what the pain is for. It's to make you a better person. And never forget that. I love you all. Never stop loving yourself. And I will catch you all on the next one. Take care, my friends.